point because there's so many things he's done throughout his career. And if you haven't investigated who he is and what he does, I encourage you to do that. So let's just start with the basics. Let's start since this is a finance class. This is where we get together every day and we talk about economic elevation, which you and I both know connects to culture and all kinds of other things. Um, let's start with the thing. One of the things that I remember that you kind of drilled into that I thought was really important is you were known for many years of kind of being what I might call kind of like almost like not quite the anti-rapper because you're pro-rapper, but like anti-toxic culture in the sense of you drove a 98 Honda Accord for a long time and you didn't just drive that car, you actually made that into like a almost like a little bit like a status symbol. Like, like you created swag around your Accord. In fact, you had a song about it. Let's start there. Tell me, first of all, do you still got the car?
Yes, yes. The 1998 Honda Accord. It honestly it lasted over 21 years until 2019, and then at that point, I did a European tour, and when I came back from Europe, uh, the car just it took its last breath. It couldn't go anymore, and I had been gone for almost a month in Europe. When I came back, I was like, all right, did this long enough. But I turned right around and bought another Honda Accord. So that was 2019. I bought a 2018 Honda Accord at the time, and I'm still driving that to this day, man. So I um
Okay.
I like that you said I turned it into a status symbol because I come up in New Orleans, Dr. Boyce, and in New Orleans, I grew up in the era of Cash Money Records and Birdman, dubbing himself, nicknaming himself the number one stunner, right? So a stunner is a person who shows off their material wealth in the form of jewelry, in the form of cars, primarily jewelry and cars. And I never thought that I would be a rapper, but when I became a rapper, I automatically had the mindset that I don't want our people to feel like their wealth is tied into the jewelry that they wear around their neck and on their wrist, as well as the car that they're hopping out of. I want them to know that their wealth is truly in their mind and in their heart. So I wanted to be the antithesis of what I grew up, being around in terms of the stunt culture. So I was like, while all rappers are waiting to go and blow a big check on a car that they're probably, living above their means and paying too much for just so they can feel important in the eyes of their fans, I wanted to be the person who is like, I'm going to intentionally drive what y'all might dub as a hoopty. I'm going to drive that intentionally, but I'm also going to be the dude who is driving the hoopty, but on BET. Driving the hoopty, but just got off a 30 city tour. Driving the hoopty, but viral all over the internet. So now this I create this moment where you have to think because you're like, wait, the car would imply that he's not successful based on what we've been taught in the Black community, but the accolades imply that he is very successful. So what's up here? And now I have your attention, and that's a teachable moment. And that's all I wanted was a teachable moment to be able to show our people and our culture that we shouldn't tie our sense of self-worth or our wealth into something like jewelry and cars.
Well, it's interesting, right? When you talk about uh, hip hop, one of the things about hip hop, and I know you know this because you were a school teacher, and that's one of the things that drove you to become a professional artist because you wanted to influence the youth, which I respect. Hip hop is heavily built on symbolism and really the manipulation and the programming of the subconscious mind. And my wife, who's a therapist, when I asked her, I said, "So what are the three things that impact the subconscious mind the most?" She said, "Trauma, repetition, and symbolism." And so when I think about the trauma, there's a lot of examples that come to mind. One immediate one is you talk about how you've had friends have gotten murdered, and that's very traumatic. You talked about the time when you were on the basketball court and the guy pulled out the gun on you and stuff like that, right? That's very traumatic. The repetition, we know beats are repetitive, hooks are repetitive, right? A catchy hook, you repeat it, repeat it. And then you've got the symbolism. When I turn on a video, I'm seeing symbols, right? And these symbols are really important. If you don't have symbols that show you're repping a hood or you're repping a culture, then a lot of people won't even listen to you, right? They'll see, they're like, okay, he's got the cocaine in the back, the gun in the passenger seat. He got the girl in the bikini over here. He's got the mansion over there, the Lamborghini right here. He's blowing smoke in the air, which means he's smoking something. He got a cup in his hand, means he's drinking something. All these are symbols, right? So, can you speak to, and I know you thought about this extensively, how dangerous is this symbolism when it comes to what's really happened to the black community, where violence is a regular thing? You got mass shootings, you got all kinds of chaos. Do you think that symbolism from hip hop has played a part in that?
Unfortunately, my brother, the symbolism is what has us thinking right is wrong and wrong is right. And it's so tough when we see black love and we know it as something that's so beautiful and so, just so brilliant. But then we look and the symbolism is black toxicity is actually elevated, and we see people who are promoting black toxicity and they're elevated to be stars and their songs are elevated to be anthems inside of our community. It's very tough when we see referring to black women, out of their name and just honestly just disrespecting black women when we see that has been normalized and then glorified. When we see that black violence and a lack of conflict resolution skills is something that, like, wait, but these songs are playing all in the club and these songs are all on the radio. But if you literally get it down to the least common denominator, it's like, man, this stuff is actually toxic for us. When it gets normalized and it gets sugar coated as what we call culture, and now culture is something that, honestly, to feel like your black card is valid, oftentimes, man, I'm a college professor right now, so I see my students come into my classroom, step on campus at Tufts University and at Harvard University, where I'm a fellow at. I see my students step on campus, my black students, and way too many of them feel like they have to embrace stuff that I know they didn't grow up with this being their norm or their reality, but they have to embrace stuff because it's considered culture at this point. And there's a certain set of norms that have been normalized in movies and music by the media and been pushed on us and marketed to us that we're like, dang, I don't seem like I fit in. I don't seem like I fit in or like I'm cool or like I'm relatable if if I didn't, you know, develop a taste for what's toxic. And that's what I'm fighting against. I'm just like, we need to deconstruct all the systems that we've been inundated by and brainwashed by. Deconstruct all of the people that we may have just called heroes just because they got popular, or called them, spokesmen for our communities. All the people who said, I'm a product of my environment, so that's why I'm like this. That's why I'm in my 30s. That's why I'm in my late 20s. I'm in my whatever I am. And I, have been blessed by God to have such a powerful platform. But all I'm doing is perpetuating all the negativity that gets our youth, caught up in the system and in the early grave. All those people who embrace that, it's like, no, you don't have to be a product of your environment. If you've been blessed with intelligence, with a platform and with a skill set that has gotten you to a place of success in life, you have a responsibility to make your environment be a product of who you are, because you are not stuck in that environment. But mentally, too many of us are stuck in that environment, even if physically we've elevated. And I don't see it any other place more widely promoted than in hip hop, to where it's like your kids are in private school, you live in a gated community, you're a multimillionaire, but mentally you are still encouraging our people to be stuck in the hood and glorify street activity. It's crazy. And I'm here to deconstruct all of those norms, all of those systems. If that means I have to call labels out, call rappers out, call fans out, creators, consumers, and commissioners. That's what I teach about in my college course. They all have a level of responsibility and accountability when it comes to taking our culture to the next level. And when you can use what Professor Trisha Rose called transformative love, as opposed to just affirmative love. That's how you change the culture. Affirmative love is, hey, we all black. Since we all black, we just gonna celebrate and glorify anything that has blackness attached to it. You know what I mean? If it's murder being glorified, you know what? We got to find something positive. At least that's a black man who, became wealthy off of being an artist, even if he is glorifying murder. That's affirmative love. You just want to affirm, affirm, affirm. Transformative love is when you affirm when necessary, but then when you also know that you have to challenge that same person or that same people who you love when necessary. You have to challenge them to grow and to do better for the collective.
Man, I like that affirmative love versus transformative love. I like that. It's
Mhm.
um, you know, transformative love sounds like a little bit of tough love, right?
Yeah.
Like I believe in you. That's why I'm asking you to do better.
Mhm.
I'm raising the bar for you a little bit because I care about you. If I didn't care about you, I would tell you to keep the bar low, right?
Mhm.
So sometimes affirmative love, if you overdose on it, then that turns into hate, right? Because I don't really care about you, I don't really believe in you. I'm going to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, even if it's self-destructive. Almost like the track coach that says, "Hey, you want to eat donuts? Keep eating donuts. You cool eating donuts. I don't love you if I'm telling you to keep on eating donuts because you're gonna get on that track. You're not gonna do well, right? So I like that. I'm gonna use that. Trisha Rose. I've never met her, but I like her already. All right, so let's talk about right now. You're on tour and you're doing a tour for your new album. It's called Hypocritical Hop, which I think is a great title. And you talked about it at the All Black National Convention, and it's going really well. I know in Houston, everybody's real pumped up to see you. Um, I'd like to hear from you when you say hypocritical hop. Tell me some of the key areas where you think, and I want everybody to know in here, D has addressed the whole world. It's been like David and Goliath. It's me against the world, that type of thing. And he's done a great job with it. So the whole world's been listening. What's hypocritical about hip hop, the music that so many of us have grown to love over the years?
So hip hop is like heaven, and hypocritical hop is like hell. Um, it's not any people that are our enemy. Uh, we call them ops nowadays. No person inside the industry is our op, but it's the spirit of greed, it's the spirit of negativity, and it's the spirit of evil that has been incentivized, right? And there's been a reward system set up to where if you display the darkness, the evil, the negativity inside of you, and if you do it effectively, then we'll reward you. And when people fall for the bait, that's hypocritical hop. Because when you fall for the bait over 40 years straight, you get a culture that since 1985 has literally, that's when the first gangster rap song came out. Since 1985, we have progressively been pushing what is absolutely not healthy for us. Murder music has become something that's been celebrated and glorified and made to seem like it's a norm at this point. It's something that, as long as you can make the hook catchy and as long as you can make the melody infectious, then even if you're talking about the genocide of your own people, you'll get signed and you'll get legendary status in your hood and in your community because you're good at making that music. Right now, you have artists who they've grown, man. So artists like a Young Jeezy, right? I never met Young Jeezy in person. I know he's a brilliant man. I know it. I've watched some of his interviews. I know he's a brilliant man. My prayer for artists like Young Jeezy would be 20 years after you got famous for making music glorifying the trap, right? Thug Motivation 101. 20 years after you put that album out, instead of going on a tour and performing that album, that's glorifying drug dealing, glorifying a bunch of murder, just the norm. Instead of saying, well, on this tour 20 years later, we're gonna put on tuxedos and I'm gonna have a symphony behind me playing the music, but I'm still gonna go on tour and perform that same music. My goal would be that you would do something that's really gangster, that's really revolutionary, and say, I'm actually gonna denounce what I once promoted, what I once glorified. Now that I'm older and wiser, I'm actually going to come out and denounce that stuff and say, no, that's not what I need to be pushing and promoting. I feel like in the Black community, we're real good at holding other communities accountable. So if you say the N word in the 1970s, and the video comes out. It's like, whoa, you said the N-word? Hold on. And now you're the owner of a football team, Jerry Jones, or you were at a KKK rally, and there's a picture of you there. Hold on, man, you got to be held accountable for that. Like you better not still be doing that now. But what if Jerry Jones said, well, it's the 50th anniversary of me appearing in that photo at that KKK rally. So since it's the 50th anniversary, let me just find a way to celebrate that and re-push that again. We wouldn't tolerate it. But when a young Jeezy goes on tour, or when Jermaine Dupri is in his 50s and is putting out an album and a documentary celebrating strip club culture in Atlanta. Like literally, it's all about Magic City and celebrating the fact that he's made it rain millions and millions of dollars on women in the club. We don't have the same energy, for that. When it comes to like, come on, now you need to do better. That's what I call DG behavior. We have OGs. I consider Dr. Boyce Watkins to be an OG. I consider many of the people in the Black Business School to be OGs. You know what I mean? Y'all are literally setting the bar very high for what it means to be a brilliant Black man or Black woman. But you're an OG. Meanwhile, some people are DGs. That's a disappointing grown up. You feel me? And we have a lot of DGs in the community, and we call them OGs just because they're old. And that's actually incorrect. So I have a song on my new album, Hypocritical Hop, called OGs versus DGs. And the whole concept of Hypocritical Hop is we took what we loved about this art form, hip hop. We took it, right? We utilized it, but then we perverted it. Then we took it in a different direction and we fell for the bait. Of course, the label executives and the corporations saw that if we can run a number on these brilliant Black men and women, if we can run a number on them and get them to actually use their it factor, use their power, use their platform to glorify a bunch of negativity and toxicity, they'll become heroes in their community. And now, as their kids grow up, they'll aspire to be like the heroes that we help to crown in their communities. And these heroes are going to be immature mentally, and they're going to be spiritually disconnected from anything that's going to help them become better. And they'll be addicted to money, and it's a different thing when you understand the power of money and you can love making money and using money as a tool versus being addicted to money. Because that right there, man, when you're addicted to it and you're in love with it, that truly is the root of all evil, So that's a fight that I've been on. It's no coincidence that my name is David. So metaphorically, there's always been a taste that I've had and a desire that I've had to identify the Goliaths in this world. And I feel like as long as God has me here, it's about identifying Goliaths in this world, metaphorically, taking the slingshots that I've been blessed with. Metaphorically, my slingshots are my gifts, being a teacher, being an author, being a rapper. It's funny, I'm getting ready for tour, so I'm sitting here and I'm packing my merch, and literally right next to me, I have my children's book. David found his slingshot, like, because I'm packing all my stuff for tour. And I wrote a whole children's book about it because there's so many Goliaths in this world. And if we all tap into our inner David, and utilize our slingshots, we can defeat the Goliaths in this world. And unfortunately, man, I started falling out of love with hip hop. And I was like, wait, D, what are you doing, man? You just put your 13th album out. You're massively successful, millions of fans and people who stream your music. How is it that you are considering quitting? You can't quit on your calling, like what's up? Something isn't feeling right here. And I realized it wasn't hip hop that I was falling out of love with. I just grew a hatred for hypocritical hop. And I had to coin that phrase. I actually trademarked it because I was like, finally, I get it. You have high, you have low, you have heaven, you have hell. You have hip hop, but there has to be something to refer to this stuff as that is similar to hip hop, but it's clearly not the best, rendition and it's not the best embodiment of what hip hop culture is meant to be and what this art form has the potential to be for Black people. And that's when I was like, there it is, hypocritical hop. And I spell it with an I. So hypocritical is HIP, OCRITICAL, hypocritical hop. Because once again, it has the word hip hop in it. You know, it's literally similar to hip hop, but it's hypocritical because it's all the things that we don't want to see happen to our community if we truly love our people. But somehow it's celebrated and glorified. So we are at war with hypocritical hop, and that's simply the spirit of greed, the spirit of negativity, the spirit of evil that has been called culture and that we have embraced and that we try to protect. We're at war with that mindset.
Mm. Well, I like that. I mean, I think, when I think about Hypocritical Hop, I just think about other interesting albums that have been made through the years where they'll show the light side and the dark side. Like you and I talked about Ice Cube's album, Death Certificate. He had the side that was life and the other side that was death. And then I even think about even when 50 Cent came out with his first album, and 1 minute it's like many men wish death upon me, right? And then it's like if I can't do it, homie, it can't be done. And I remember feeling the contrast of that music where it's like there's the sadness, there's the fear, the paranoia of the lifestyle, but then there's also the optimism and the confidence of it. And I think that for you, you're doing that really in a much more positive way, in a much more creative way in terms of talking about the potential of who we really can be. Hip hop represents the very best of what we can be. It's hip hop itself is beautiful, it's powerful, it's inspirational. But then hypocritical hop is that little demon that's come in and really poisoned the well. And it's really it's taken the superpower of hip hop and said, okay, we're gonna take this weapon that Black people created, and we're gonna get you to turn this gun and put it in your own face. Like everything that's great about you, we're gonna make you use that to destroy yourself because the enemy knows they can't destroy Black people. They've been trying, but they know that Black people can destroy Black people. Right. So the goal is to get us to turn on ourselves and each other. And that's why I love the album. I love what you're doing. I want to mention something real quick to everybody. Dee's tour, his Hypocritical Hop tour, he's going to a lot of different cities. And I want you all to know, since y'all family, look, the Black Business School has purchased 40 tickets in every city. So I kid you not, everybody in this room, I'm only saying to everybody in this room, if you show up at D1, any of D1's tour cities, just say Dr. Boyce sent me, and you can get into the concert for free. Like, so I'm buying tickets for everybody in here that wants to go. If you got children that want to be a part of this, teenagers, 20 somethings in your house, your grandkids, or yourself, show up, just say Dr. Boyce sent me, and they will not charge you at the door. And Dee and I talked about this, and I'm gonna pay the tab. So, can you list the cities that you're going to? Because I know it's like a whirlwind. It's like I think it was like September 5th through the 22nd, or maybe the 29th, or something like that.
27.
You tell me. Go
Yes,
ahead.
sir. So the Hypocritical Hop Tour starts on September 5th and it goes until September 27th. And these are the cities that we're coming to. If you're anywhere near these cities, Dr. Boyce just told y'all he's been a blessing to y'all, and getting tickets for you, your family, your cousin, your auntie, your mama, whoever it is, come out there, and I'll explain why this tour is different than anything hip hop has ever seen in 1 second. September 5th, we're in Houston, Texas. September 7th, we're in Atlanta, Georgia. September 11th, we're in Washington, D.C. September 12th, we're in New York City. September 14th, we're in Boston, Massachusetts. September 19th, we're in Nashville, Tennessee. September 25th, we're in Dallas, Texas. And September 27th, we're in my hometown of New Orleans, Louisiana. So those are the dates. If you're anywhere near there, please come out and join us. I want to tell y'all, this tour is different because I understand that God just made me to be a bridge. In hip hop, we have the biggest egos in the world because constantly all day we're telling people to follow us, listen to us. We're hearing people tell us how they know the words to our music and they love us, right? So it forms these big egos. at heart, I'm still Mr. Augustine. I'm still that middle school teacher from Louisiana, you heard me, who is working with my students to make them be the best version of themselves they can be. So this is a selfless endeavor for me. When I say that, I'm coming out of pocket in all of these markets, right? I'm coming out of pocket on this whole tour, booking these venues like on my own dime. This isn't something where I'm being booked by these venues and being compensated up front by them. I'm betting on myself, but I'm centering the community at my concerts. So we're starting each show off, each concert, with a community-led panel discussion to where I'm taking members of those cities. So when I go to Houston, Texas, or Atlanta, Georgia, or any city, I'm taking members of those cities who are doing the work with their boots on the ground, who are working with nonprofits, who are teachers, who are educators, who are in the faith-based community, and making our community better. And I'm centering them on a panel, allowing my audience and my fan base to see that I'll be moderating the panel, but these are the people who are doing the work, and you can either plug in with some of them as we move forward, but or you can just be inspired by them to find your slingshot and shine your light in the world, right? That's what this is all about. Then it shows how I've been blessed to have a worldwide platform, but I am simply a bridge, but I'm also a teammate in this work that we're doing. So I may not live in these cities full time, but I'm your person. I'm your boy that's on the national stage that's fighting this fight every day. And just know Dee-1 wants to co-sign the work that you all are doing, because that's where my heart is. So the concert starts off with that panel discussion to set the tone and the energy in the room. And then from there, I'm gonna give you the most amazing rap show that you've ever seen. I'm gonna give you the type of energy and the type of sincerity and passion mixed in with these amazing songs that's gonna have you like, yo, I have a new soundtrack to my lifestyle, to the lifestyle of being beautiful, being brilliant, being black, being a child of God, being all the things that you are and that you love. Yeah, that's gonna make this world better. So that's what we're doing. Boyce, man, I can't I can't express my gratitude enough for you understanding that we have to be here to support one another in a way that actually, like, it's not just lip service, but it actually shows people that we are a united front in terms of making our communities better, right? And touring is not easy, ladies and gentlemen. So it's amazing that I have 750,000 Instagram followers and 550,000 Facebook followers and whatnot. But when I announced that I'm doing a tour, it seems as if people, people say, "Oh, that's nice, that's cute. Maybe I'll check that out. Maybe if I get around to it or something like that." But when the people who are pushing the negativity and the toxicity on our communities announce that they are doing a tour, they have to literally say, "Oh, we have an announcement to make. The tickets sold out in 10 minutes. Like, there's no more tickets available because there was that much of a demand in an arena, for this murder music tour, or for this tour where we're gonna be glorifying popping Miley's and Percocets and whatnot." So that is the reality of what's going on. So now there are people like Dr. Boyce Watkins who are like, "Nah, D, I'm going to help be a bridge and connect these dots to where I know that my audience and my community loves what you do. And I want to make it that much easier for them to be able to come out and to be able to support and show love." Man, I can't tell you, brother. Nobody else is doing that type of stuff. Like, my biggest cosigns haven't come from rappers. They've come from college professors, and come from people who are in the financial literacy space, and come from just people who are in the faith community and whatnot. So that's why I know that God has positioned me to be a rapper, but ultimately I'm just a light. That's all. I'm just a light. I'm just a light, and that light can be reflected through teaching, through rapping, through preaching, through speaking, through being an author, but especially through hip hop. And that's why I'm grateful I'm in this industry. And I'm more excited to go on tour now because of Dr. Boyce's support, and him pledging that he's going to bless people in every market with these tickets. So I'll be able to utilize my platform to let people know that this is what real support and love, looks like. So thank you, man. I'm honestly humbled by that. Like, what if you don't mind me asking for a second, what is it that causes you to make a decision like that?
Um, because action matters. We got too much talking, man. Look, if I, I hope everyone can hear me when I say this, and I'm gonna ask you to put a yes in the chat if you get what I'm saying. Love is not just a feeling. Love is not just words. Love is a verb. It's an action, right? So if I say I love you, brother, then that means I'm ready to get up off my butt and get something done for you. You know what I mean? If you hungry, I'm gonna feed you. If you in danger, I'm gonna protect you. If you need guidance, I'm gonna guide you. If you want wealth, then I got you on that, right? I want to help you acquire that, right? So I think we got to get in that habit of doing it. I think that we have a society that is uh built. Unfortunately, we are incentivized to engage in the instant gratification of just talking, and hip hop is part of that. Hip hop, when I look at hip hop, I see what you see, but I also see it from the perspective of a 54-year-old man. So I'm about 14 years older than you. So I see it a little, I'm looking a little bit further back, right? And I see what I remember when hip hop transformed in the 90s, went from positive to negative just like that. And I think that that was a part of the plan. But then when you even look at in the 90s when guys like us were in our 20s, and you had a lot of hip hop that was really an extension, the next generation of the pimp culture that was promoted in the 70s. And I remember my father explaining to me how in the 70s, when everybody went to see the Mac and all that, all the young guys wanted to be pimps. And so 25 years later, when Snoop Dogg, who was a baby at the time, grows up and he's saying, we don't love them hoes. And he's showing respect to the OGs by having Bishop Magic Don Juan with him, who really, I mean, it's that's sex trafficking. You get big years in prison for that, right? But they're promoting this to millions of young black men. So they're growing up thinking that pimping women is a good thing, right? Like, I don't know what you heard about me, but I'm a PI. You know that song, right? So you fast forward to now, and you see Diddy. What's Diddy charged with? Sex trafficking, right? And he's not the only one. There's a lot of people in the industry that can be hit with that. And the thing is, when you look at it from the big picture, you knew this was always coming. I remember, like when the Me Too movement started, I said when the Me Too movement catches up with hip hop, it's going to be a bloodbath because I've seen just the craziness, the debauchery. Because you and I both know people that are in that space, and just you see stuff, you're like, man, you're gonna get locked up for that, right? So here's my point. I'm gonna circle back, make sure I answer your question. Part of that culture too, if you look at the pimp culture, well, how is a pimp measured in his effectiveness? His mouthpiece, fast talking. Yeah, baby, I got $2 and you got six, and we're gonna have eight, and then after we get eight, we're gonna be straight. You know what I mean? Like all this talking, but no action behind the talking, right? So what I remember kind of processing when I was much younger was I said, so it almost seems like as a black man, people are telling you that you're supposed to just do a lot of talking, but you ain't really supposed to have no action behind it. And that's okay. That's just as good as actually doing something. So I remember Diddy getting on Twitter and he said, hey y'all, we're gonna get together and build black wealth. We're gonna buy the Carolina Panthers. And then nothing happened, right? It was it. That was it. He said it, got 10,000 likes, it was over. Al Sharpton holds a rally and a march, and we're gonna do this and do that. Then after the rally's over, what happens after the rally? Nothing, right? Because the talking becomes more valued than the action. So my oath in my life and in the lives of anybody listening is to say, to me, part of manhood and just being a decent human being means if you're going to talk about it, you need to be about it. And why is that important? Because that is the foundation of what makes you into a solid human being, especially men. Think about this. This translates even down to the way we might deal with children. How many of y'all, give me a yes in the chat if you know of a man who like makes promises to his kids and don't follow through. Hey, I'm gonna pick you up. We're gonna go to Disneyland. I'm gonna get you at school at 4 o'clock. We're gonna go get ice cream. And then the poor little 7-year-old is sitting on the side waiting on daddy, like my daddy's gonna take me to get ice cream. And daddy don't show up because daddy's off in the liquor bottle, chasing a woman, went to get high, forgot about it. And we act like that ain't a big deal, man. That breaks a kid's heart. When you're a man and you say you're gonna do something, you don't do it. That breaks a woman's heart. People believe in you, and I don't mean to get preachy, man. I'm not. This is your interview, man, but this pisses me off to the core because I've been hurt by this, and I've seen people get hurt by this. And the thing about being a man, I'm talking specifically about men right now, is that God gives us a natural authority just due to the fact that we have testosterone. We have a natural that which gives us confidence, which gives us a natural leadership ability. Doesn't mean women can't lead, doesn't mean women can't do amazing things, but just like there's something special about the black woman, there's something special and godly about the black man. And what happens is that you undermine your natural authority when you as a man make a commitment to the people that follow you. Like daddy's looking, the kids are looking at daddy like he's a hero. The woman's like, I admire my man. And then you show up like a punk because you said, well, hey, I'm gonna do this and do this and do this, and you don't follow through. So this is personal for me, man. It takes me back to when I was 14 and I met my biological father for the first time. And I remember two things my grandmother said about him. My father's side of the family is very good, very nice people. Everybody was cool, but there was something off with him. It seemed like he was a little distracted. And I remember two things that I picked up on at 14 that I just kind of said, okay, this is suspicious. One was I heard my grandmother say, well, he's gonna get it together one day. So when she says that, that tells me he ain't got it together, right? Like if I'm learning about my dad, I didn't know this man. And then I finally met him. I gave him a hug. It was an interesting experience because I never met another man that looked that much like me. That was very surreal for me. And I remember him saying something like, one day I'm gonna get me a Maserati or something like that. And I remember literally as a 14-year-old looking at him and thinking, you ain't never gonna have no Maserati. You just talking. You know what I mean? And so here's my point, and I'm not here to disparage him on any level. I'm just here to really say to everybody listening, I really, really, really respect all of you that are action oriented. Because if you don't act on what you say, then what you say doesn't mean anything. There's that phrase that talk is cheap. So long story short, I'm gonna finish on this point, man. If I say I support you, then I'm going to say, okay, what actions will I commit to that will reinforce what I just said? So because your mouth can write a check and your actions are cashing the check. And we got to start putting money in the bank for our people, money in the bank
Wow,
for each other, money in the bank for our families, right? So that's why I did that. So you did this to me, man. You asked the question.
man. Yeah,
I
you went
gave you
up.
the big old answer,
Yeah.
but that's what goes through my mind.
Wow. I just want to say thank you because the art of the cosign is how we all, pass on a set of norms in our culture. So when somebody cosigns an individual or cosigns a song or a lifestyle and they put people on, it's always the big brother that's putting his younger sibling on to the music that he listens to, or is putting people on to certain clothing brands or certain artists. So what you've just done, you are giving a lot of people the opportunity to put someone on to an artist that is a life-giving artist, to put people on to Dee-1, because if they're able to say, oh, I just want to introduce you to this, like it's my job as a man of God, as a hip-hop artist, as a communicator, it's my job to spark something inside of someone. But oftentimes it's the cosign or it's the opportunity for that person to be exposed to me that makes all the difference in the world. So by you saying like, yeah, like I'm gonna get these tickets, that allows somebody to say, yo, I'm taking you somewhere tonight. Where we going? We going to this concert. Don't even trip. We got our tickets already. We all good. Come here. And once they say come here and they show up, oh man, the rest, by the grace of God, I've been doing that for 16, 17 years at this point. Like the rest, I got 100% approval rating once I get in front of people, so that's the easy part, man. But that's how we work as a team. And I do want to stress to everybody, our time here on this earth is very temporary. It is very temporary. So oftentimes people want to stack up this wealth of knowledge, right? We want to accumulate knowledge. We've become addicted to, oh yeah, I just want information. I just want more information. Oh, this is another course. This is another convention, another festival. We want all this information. When are we going to start to apply all this knowledge that we've acquired? We don't have forever to start applying this. So if we want to make our community and our world better, this is literally the time to do it. I look at it like I live with a sense of urgency because I had somebody who, had a gun to my head before, like Boyce alluded to when I was a college student. And I was like, man, I'm 20 years old and I'm finna die right now. Like, this is crazy. And all I thought about in that moment, y'all, was dang, there was so many opportunities I had to shine my light brighter and make this world better. And I was so concerned with just trying to fit in. And I just thought back to all these moments in life that I figured out how to play it safe, or I figured out how to learn something, but I didn't get around to applying it. And in that moment, when I had that iron right there on my head, on my temple, I was just like, dang, I'm not gonna get another chance. Well, God blessed me with another chance, y'all. I made it out of that ordeal alive. That's a whole nother interview about that. And since then, it's a sense of urgency that I make music with, that I love people with, and that I live with. And that is what helps us to take action and not just want to accumulate a wealth of knowledge. Like, what is it to accumulate wealth in your mind if you never apply that wealth? So thank you, boys. I mean that, because that is what that's what we need to model, and this is what we need to show people. And I look forward to being able to continue to teach people that it's action and accountability that actually makes a difference.
Yes, absolutely, man. And I love you for that, brother. And yeah, we got to bring you back, 'cause that story about the gun, man. That's
Yeah.
wild. You know.
You know what tomorrow is? Tomorrow is the 20-year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina hitting my city, man, my hometown, New Orleans. And I see all these documentaries, you heard me, that's on Netflix and it's on all the streaming networks and whatnot. And I turn away from them every time, man, because that's still an open wound. That's still something that I realize it changed my entire outlook on what life is. And it honestly took a lot away from what I considered to be my life at that point. It was just like, man, material possessions, everything can just be gone like that. So there's been things that have happened that I guess Dr. Alicia would call, I'm not a therapist. I guess they would be called uh
Probably.
traumatic experiences and
Mhm.
things that you can tell that they must be traumatic because they stick with you in a different way, and they still kind of hurt, when they're touched, man. But uh, by the grace of God, I think that I've been able to process most of my early life traumatic experiences into a way that has produced a resilience and a sense of urgency around just love and light, love, light, and the intentional use of my talents while I'm down here on earth. So that's kind of what I move with, and that's kind of what I want to leave to anyone that's listening. I want to leave that with people, is we don't have forever. We don't. And I don't want your talents to go to the graveyard with you. I don't want your knowledge and that wealth of information that you accumulated to go to the graveyard with you. My grandpa, speaking of my couch, hold on. Clearly I got a lot going on my couch. I'm packing my children's books. I got this chain of my grandpa, man, and this is my main man right here. He lived to be 93 years old, and man, God blessed me with him for so many years. And when I tell y'all that, like, I would have these conversations with him, and I was like, man, I'm witnessing a living, breathing, uh, real life example of how I would like to be when I get older, and I was like, dang, I just want to talk to him and pick his brain. And so what I started doing was recording our conversations. That's why I like doing interviews so much, because I have so many of me and my grandpa, we call him Papa, so many of his conversations, and I recorded that I can refer back to them. And all that knowledge that I gained from him over time, I'm able to apply it, because he would be so disappointed in me if he told me all these life stories, how he and my grandmother had to go through so much during their 66 years of marriage, and being a black man in New Orleans in the South, born in 1930, just how much he had to endure, and just so much, so much. But he would be disappointed if all I did was listen to him just for entertainment value. And that's what we don't want from everybody, is for us to just live in an era where we're just listening to wise men and charismatic speakers just for entertainment value, and not doing anything with the knowledge. So, before he passed away, we had a moment that I'd cherish for the rest of my life, and we were in the hospital bed. He didn't have long to live, and I saw him cry for the first time in my life. Yeah, man, saw him cry, and he didn't cry because of any regret that he was feeling. He didn't cry because of being afraid of where he was going to go when he died. He cried because a well-known pastor in New Orleans who had come to visit my grandpa in the hospital was so blessed by my grandpa's words that he ended up scrapping his sermon at church the next Sunday and preaching about his encounter with my grandpa. And when I showed my grandpa the video on YouTube, he's in the hospital bed. He doesn't have long to live. And I said, Papa, I said, man, Father Tony ended up preaching about you and y'all conversation, this Sunday at church. And I showed it to my grandpa. And man, he was such a selfless leader who just did this from the purity of his heart and wanted to make this world better. He didn't want attention or fame for him being the man that he was, that he started crying, man. And all he kept saying was, God, I'm not worthy. God, I'm not worthy. Because he felt like, if I'm doing this only to get known or to get attention, and if it's not from the purity of my heart, God, you're not going to honor it, And he just kept saying, like, God, I'm not worthy. Like, I don't want the fame. I don't need the attention that I'm getting in this moment. I just want the glory to go to you. Bro, I bust out crying. You know what I'm saying? Like, I bust out crying. And man, that's one of the best probably moments of my life, man. Just being able to like shed tears with my grandpa, not out of sadness, but out of humility and out of service from a pure place. So I've had a great example set for me, man. And, I just want to live up to it with the rest of my life.
Wow, wow. Now you said Papa. Now, did you call him Papa or what?
Yeah, yeah. Your inflection is different than our inflection in New Orleans. We don't say Paw, we say Papa. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Wow. Like
instead of
that kind of French kind of
yeah,
thing. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I got a pawpaw too. He's 97 actually, and so it's crazy how these pawpaws are everywhere, man. And they do so much for us, man. And okay, so I want everybody to know. Don't forget D1's tour. If you go to d1music.com, you can see all the cities he's going to. And as I mentioned, everybody in here. Now just so you know, in each city, the Black Business School is buying 40 tickets. So the first 40 of you that get there, just say Dr. Boyce sent you, and you can get in for free. Okay. And but as long as you promise me you're not gonna just sit there. You're gonna cheer, you're gonna make him feel good, because he gives a great performance, by the way. And this is more than just a tour and concerts. It's also work in the community. He's doing some community discussions on ways to make our community better. So, in fact, actually, now that I'm even listening to this, I got to go to some of the cities, man. So I'm already looking at the calendar, trying to figure out which ones I can go to. And also, I want to quickly mention before we do something, I'm gonna give D1 a surprise because I just love what he was saying just now. Chanel is in the chat, and we're about to start our stock options boot camp. It's called Coin, and so she's actually offering a really deep discount for anybody in this space who wants to participate. So Chanel, if you want to share that link in the chat, please feel free to do that. There we go. So if you want to join the next cohort, I think it's like 60% off or something like that. Just take a look at it. And stock options is a great thing to learn if you want to master your wealth. And so she's sharing that link in the chat. Now, here's my little surprise for D. Since he talked about his pawpaw, and I know how much he loved his grandfather and his grandmother. He didn't get a chance to talk about his You got a chain for your grandma too, right?
Yes, sir. I got that chain. Yep, it's in the other room on the table. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So, but here, I want y'all to just see, in case you haven't seen, I need y'all to see this video. It's one of my favorite videos you ever did. You got about you got a lot of classics in there. I'm not even gonna count how many there are, but one of my favorite ones was when you did the song with Lupe Against Us. And I told you that personally, and your Papa was in the beginning of the video. So I want everybody, don't just hear about the legend of Papa, but I want y'all to see him, and then you get to see the legend of his grandson continuing the greatness that's in their family. So let me just play this video. Let me know if y'all can hear it. I'm gonna share the sound, and it's also on YouTube if you want to go look it up as well. But here, let me just get this started. This video got millions of views on World Star, and so here we go.
Hello, this is the music of Dee-1, who just so happens to be my grandson, along with Lupe Fiasco and Big Crit. Let's go.
They say I keep it too real. Oh well, I ain't got no chill. I ain't in this game to prostitute my soul for dollar bills. In the streets is going down. Titanic. God got me though. Why panic? Who cares if you die rich if you ain't dynamic? Black verse, white, black verse, black rich verse, poor hero verse, Christ, the verse, night field verse, face, Satan verse, God love verse, hate. Got hustling in my jeans. I fell asleep bumping Chris Wallace. I got big dreams. Man, what it do? Got Lupe, got Crit, everybody know we trail. What you rap about? Killing folks? You see the times we in, you ain't real. And yeah, I'm Christian. But Muslims, Hindus, and every religion all know one thing. That boy spitting. A real rap dude. I better demons every day, like where they at though. I'm D1. Top 5 is where I normally rank up. You got money in the bank, but you morally bankrupt, boy.
Forgive us for our flexing in our selfish ways and overlook the day that we ain't pray. After getting paid, a product of buying violence. They gave us crack, we sold it back for gold and real and Gucci. Told us how to rip and move it, and like junkies just ain't human. Somebody mama, somebody father that was on their way to AA till they heard us holler Bay-A's for the cheap. The fire black life has decreased. Police killing us for a bonus and paid vacate to the beach. The devil been busy, I'm telling you. Been what they selling you. Put God first and let him work when everything else failing you. We been in the club way too long, my brother. Teach them more than rapping, slow, appealing, and drug dealing, but how to love each other, embrace the struggle, build from rubble, and do more than just tweet. Mad about it, emoji, sad, Instagram, hashtag about it. I don't mean to nag about it, but we got to fight the evil, raise the flag about it. Saying, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive those who trespass against us.
What you tell them now?
Against us, against us.
They ain't trying to go.
Against us.
Lupe. Drugs. Operation Opposition. I can stay in my condition. Nah. That complicated competition. Started Operation Pop the Piston. 17 had a set of wings. Now I'm selling dreams like I'm selling lean. I be selling dreams like I'm 7 kings. Actions speak, never said a thing. Just asleep, never met a bed. Better yet, I never slept, I never met a Fred. But it's nightmares where I came from. And my dream is just to bring them where it ain't none. My mind is my solace. One day here is like 5 times they college. Go against us. It's high time to acknowledge that my kind and they logic. It's like 9 they policy.
I might be 86, but I know good hip-hop when it hits. And you know what I represent. Be real, real, be righteous, and be relevant.
Man, I hope everybody was able to hear that. And everybody give a digital round of applause for the great Dee-1. And let me just tell you, he's put out what 13, he said 13 albums or
14 albums now. 14.
Yeah,
Yep.
so and I haven't even got to the other ones. You got to check out the one you did with about the car note. I ain't
Yeah.
got no car note.
Yeah,
I
no,
thought that
no,
was,
no Cardinal. We got Sally Maybach. We got a lot of songs that really speak to financial empowerment and financial literacy, for sure. The newest album though is called Hypocritical Hop. It's on all streaming platforms, but also in this predatory music economy, I've also found another way to circumvent the system. And so my album is also available on my website, d1music.com. And you can purchase it directly from me, the artist, digitally, but you can name your own price as well. So that's also another option, DEE, the number one, music.com. So yeah, that's the latest album, Hypocritical Hop. It's been called, I don't like to compare myself to other people's work because I don't think art is to be compared, but people are saying it's their favorite rap album of 2025. Different publications have voted it the top rap album of the year thus far. So it's very humbling, but it's available on my website as well as all streaming platforms. Yep.
well, you know what? I tell you, I love it, and I hope everybody else understands why I have so much respect for D. And also, Dee's been coming to the All Black National Convention for a really long time. And also another artist that came and set it off was Killer Mike. He did a great job there, and I love watching people that I just respect and admire just really blow up and get the respect they deserve. David Banner, another mutual friend you and I have, he came to the first convention, and he did actually what you talked about before. He actually denounced some of the things that he did when he was younger because he says I didn't understand. And you got a lot of artists out here, everybody. I want everybody to know that you got artists that really get it, that are really seeking to shift the culture in a positive way. Another one is Victory Boyd and her family. They were signed by Rock Nation. They performed at probably three different conventions, and now Victory is world famous. And also her siblings are selling out, selling out venues in all across Europe. I don't know if you followed Infinity Song or not. You seen them lately?
Doing their thing.
Yeah, they're killing it, and I love it because their father, John Boyd, a great man. I have so much respect for him. Have you met their father, John?
Was he at the convention that they sang at a few years ago? I believe it was in Florida, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
They've been to like I think two or three, and in Victory actually sang at our wedding when Alicia and I got married. And here's the thing: this is what intentionality does, and I want everybody to understand this. So their family is a lot like the Jackson Five, where John had a vision for the kids, and they used to sing in New York City, and for people would drop money in the cup, that type of thing. And they've been super consistent. And I met John and his family when they came to one of our events in Baltimore, I think. And I didn't know anything about the talent and everything. And later on, when I heard Victory sing, I was kind of floored by it. This is how good she is. It was like Jay-Z heard her sing one time and signed her on the spot. That's how talented she was. But John, I remember he said, one day my kids are going to be famous, and I need them to be grounded in the culture. And he wasn't talking about that culture. He was talking about the culture, if you know what I mean. And he said, I don't want them to forget who they are. And that's why I'm bringing them here and I want them exposed to all this. So I encourage everybody in here, understand that. A lot of y'all got talented kids. You got smart kids. Your kids going to grow up and become executives and CEOs and maybe performers, maybe athletes, whatever it is. You got to ground them in something. You got to ground them in a culture that's going to allow them to become a more expansive version of who they are in a positive way so that when they become that millionaire, billionaire, they're not going to forget where they come from. At the last convention, Ezekiel Elliott, the NFL star, his father was there. And he talked about the same thing. He said, I'm Nation of Islam. I'm in a certain culture, black family, black people, black love. I love my wife. And he made sure Zeke kept that in his head as he goes into these other spaces. So you can be in those spaces, but you ain't got to be of it. figure out who the hell you are, and then that really needs to come from the family. So thank you, D, for always remember who you are, man. I got a lot of respect for you, bro. So everybody, D1music.com. Did you have another thing you want to say before we bounce? I should let you get the last word. Anything you wanted to mention before we finish up?
Yeah, I just pray for everybody on here that you continue to take your life seriously, utilize your slingshots to defeat the Goliaths in this world. I just want to see the best for all of y'all, honestly. And I really appreciate from the bottom of my heart, Boyce, for forming this type of community. I can feel the love through these hearts that y'all are sending. Like this ain't just an emoji. I feel like every one of them is hitting me on my screen. I'm like, wow, all these hearts coming at me in all these directions. I feel it though. And as a young creator, that type of love and feeling incentivized and celebrated for showcasing the best of who I am is great. My grandpa, Papa used to always tell me, he said, Doc, that's my nickname, Doc. He said, Doc, everybody has a dark side. It's our job to do what we can to not allow that dark side to overtake us, So I'm no different than anybody else that could be tempted or can be lured into using my gifts to promote evil and negativity. But thank y'all for incentivizing. Look, all these hearts, man. For incentivizing me to showcase the best of who David Augustine Jr. is, aka D1. And I see some of y'all brilliant Black people misspelling my name in the chat. It's DEE-1. You hear me? I got one of the most misspelled names in hip hop. So yeah, check me out. Encourage your loved ones to check the music out. As an independent, get some merch. Like I said, get a children's book. Please come see me on the tour so I can give you a hug in real life and really kick it with you. And let's continue to make this world better. And me and Boyce will work it out to where I guess all y'all got to do is show up and say Boyce's name. Keyword, code word Boyce. That's the password, and that's gonna be a blessing. You are your people. You or whoever you know. So yeah, y'all. I really want this tour to be successful so it can be so I can come to more cities. Honestly, just to tell you, I see a lot of y'all. When you coming to Detroit? When you coming to Chicago? I got to take this a piece at a time, and Boyce has just single-handedly made this tour a lot more successful because of his blessing, So I appreciate y'all for y'all time, and I'm here anytime y'all need me.
Right on, man. Right on. All right. So everybody, D1music.com, DEE1music.com. That's where you can find all the cities. Don't forget, if you go in, just say Dr. Boyce sent me. The first 40 people that show up, you can get in for free. I will buy your ticket. Now, when you get past 40, so you better get there early. You get past 40, then that's on you. But yeah, the Black Business School is going to sponsor that first 40 tickets. So just say my name and you'll get in. Also, Chanel shared that link for the stock options class. I think we start Thursday, September 4th, it looks like. So if you and your family want to learn stock options, feel free to join. Later on today, I'll be doing some analysis on what's going on in the markets. A lot of interesting things are happening. So God bless you, everybody. I'll see you all tomorrow. If you're not on the text list for this class, just text the word morning to the number 87948, morning to 87948, and I'll see you in an invitation. Have a good day, everybody. God bless you. Take care, brother. Good to see you, man. All
Peace.
right.
Yep.
Peace.